Hi guys, it's Mike here from KO's Bushcraft Down Under. Today I thought I'd talk about bottles. Now, a good quality bottle like this heavy cup of titanium canteen kit with attached cup is a really top line piece of kit. The ability to carry water, boil water, to sterilise it and stuff is really vital for survival, bushcraft, really any outdoors activities. Now, because I live in a hot, dry place, there's limited opportunities to resupply water. 1 litre is just not enough. So for me, I always need to carry additional water, which I generally carry in a platypus bladder. Okay, so it gives me the ability to boil more water, top this up if I can pick it up. Anyway, today's chat is about the underrated PET bottle. Now, you can make these guys into a really strong bottle, as I've shown previously, just by adding boiling water to them. It shrinks them, but it makes them really tough. But even on their own, they're a really lightweight way of carrying liquids, and they're also incredibly useful in a whole range of survival situations. Probably most of you are familiar with the minnow traps made by cutting the neck and inverting it, and it's a good way of catching bait and minnows. Now, on a recent trip of mine, my spoon died, thrilled. So I actually made one from the bottom of the bottle. So I just drew a line around it, hacked it out. I used the gas lighter to take the sharp edges off it. It makes a pretty effective little spoon. Much easier than carving one out of a tree, I'll tell you that. And of course, there's a bowl. From another bottle, of course. But what a lot of people don't realise is you can make fabulous cordage from it really quite easily. So you'll need to start off by cutting as evenly as you can around the base of the bottle. Try and get it as square as you can. Now, my technique is quite simple. I have one of these Gerber razor knives, and basically I just put my foot on it. Now that gives me a gap of about 5 to 6 millimeters, which seems to be the sweet spot for making good cordage. And although it's like curving it, of course, it is really strong. And from one of the 2 litre bottles, you can get about 8 meters of it. So the basic technique is to pin this with your foot, pull this through as you turn the bottle, and it'll cut pretty neat. Otherwise you can do it with a pair of scissors, if you've got a pair of scissors, that is. Now, when I was in the UK recently, I was wanting to fill up my bottle. I didn't want to be buying bottled water, and I found the restrooms all had the world's tiniest sinks in there, and I couldn't get my container into the sink on the spout. So by cutting a hole in a bottle like this, I was able to funnel it into my container, and especially into this bladder, which no matter how I sort of positioned it, I could only get about a quarter full. So that's a useful thing to remember. Now, living in a hot, dry place, water anxiety is a biggie for me. And it's possible to make a simple solar still. Now, most of you guys are probably familiar with the digging a hole in the ground, covering it with a plastic sheet, and putting the canteen cup in the bottom. And that works fabulously. Now, unfortunately, lots of parts of Australia, you need a jackhammer to dig a hole in the ground. But if you're at the beach, you've got plenty of salty water, and it's possible to make something like this. It's got the MacGyver look to it, but it does work quite effectively well. So I set this up yesterday. It was a nice fine day. So inside there, I've got the bottom of a 1.25 litre pop bottle. This is a 2 litre. I cut the neck, inverted it minnow trap style, because it's still got the lid on it. Now I used some duct tape, which it doesn't really need, and I gutted a ballpoint pen. So yesterday that inner container was dry, so I've been keeping this soil damp, so it makes the funnel part cooler than the outside, which is what I wanted, because I wanted the evaporated liquid to condense on the inner and drip down into the cup. And I'll give it the acid test, and it's totally fine. compared to the liquid is in the bottom. So push comes to shove and you had plenty of bottles and the right conditions, a simple setup like this might save your life. Because if things are that desperate, you really don't want to be exerting yourself digging huge holes. Okay. Now, because I travel a lot in really arid places, I carry this in the car. Now, this is the copper tubing that you find on air conditioner compressors. So, crawled around it. Now, it's possible for me to find a container, whether it's even an old paint tin or even a container like that, force it through, try and get a seal, get this to boiling. Now, if I wrap a wet rag or even just leave it as it is and stick this other end into a receiving container, I've got the basics of a still. So that's well worth carrying if you're travelling in arid regions and stuff, but maybe not for everyday use. But that type of thinking could save your life, and that's the trick to it. When push comes to shove, don't stop thinking. Best advice I can ever give you is when in doubt, brew up. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching. Bye for now.